You're listening to the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast with Mark Allred, Court Lalonde, and Rob Tomlin. You can subscribe and rate our show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Player.fm, SoundCloud.com, and Stitcher Radio. You can help the show financially by going to the blackandgoldhockeyblog.com website and clicking on either the Amazon.com or Fanatics.com banners to the right before shopping online. Now, time to start the Bruins hockey talk from 3 different countries. Enjoy the show.
Orr fights to keep it in. Does. Has it in the corner to Sanderson. Back in front to Orr. Shot. Scores! Bobby Orr!
Ray Bork. Scores! Ray Bork from the face-off circle to the right of Reggie Lemlin. Fired it down and Whitmore blew it.
Bounces down to Bergeron. He takes the space, pulling it wide to the right of Tatar. The snapshot over Mrazek. It's loose, and Bergeron scores! Patrice Bergeron!
Hello, Bruins fans, and welcome back for episode 72 of the Black and Gold Hockey Podcast in partnership with Grandstand Sports Network, the best view in sports. I am with 2 great friends and awesome co-hosts, Rob Tomlin and Court Lalonde. As always, gentlemen, I have a secret to tell you, and I can't get it out anymore. It's been eating me since the start of the season. The Bruins are on a 2-game winning streak.
Ooh. Is that the first time this season as well that they put 2 wins together?
Yes.
Yes.
And what other team put 2 wins together for the first time? Actually, their 3rd win of the season.
I was informed by this morning by the great Court Lalonde. The Arizona Coyotes are also have a little winning streak.
Everybody's like, the Bruins are on track. I'm like, so are the Coyotes, I guess, then? Worst team in the league.
What a week. Let's jump right into it. We talked about the Tuukka Rask starting the Anaheim game as a confidence booster, and he definitely got that start, but there was no confidence boost at all.
Nope.
And they lost 4-2 against Anaheim, and then obviously the next game against the LA Kings, Anton Hudobin really just showed me up. And anything that I've said that was, not good about him. I'm not saying I hate the guy. I'm just not a fan of his goaltending, and I never have been. He's only had one good 30 win season, so
He's actually only had 8 good games, including last year.
Right.
I want people just I am so happy he's playing well.
Yeah, I am too. I
Tim
love
Thomas comparisons today were a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it's you're gonna get those no matter what because Jack Edwards feeds that.
I was lucky enough not to have to. I didn't have to listen to him. I barely have to most of the time when I watch the game.
But he got the start and definitely showed that he earned it, and he definitely earned the start last night and a commanding 3-1 win over the San Jose Sharks to end the week. And hey, you got to go with the hot goaltender, and right now
100%.
The hot goaltender is Anton Hudobin, and I did not see this at all at the beginning of last season because the guy had 1 win in the beginning of the season, and then didn't
First
get
15 games.
Yeah. And then didn't get his second
garbage.
win until the February 11th. Mm-hmm. So I just have a hard time grasping onto him taking over and being the savior. And jokingly, I said, because I did see a few tweets this morning that said, Stanley Cup, here we come. And then, some Vizina hardware is in his future. So I kind of said, let's pump our brakes on that. He great effort. Loved seeing it. Loved the 2 points more importantly. But what's even greater than that is how they're gelling as a team in these 2 games. And it's weird how people are starting to come back a little by little. It's not, a mad rush to get everybody back in the lineup as much as we'd love to see it, but we're seeing difference in games, and I like what I'm seeing. So
Well, as I said on Twitter, I was more frustrated for the fact that I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of these games live. I watched them all the next day because I get up pretty early and these games were late. But Jake DeBrusk played amazing. And all I hear is about all there really was the talk all over on social media and everything else was Tuukka Rask sucks and Hudobin's the god. And most of the time, if you looked at it, it was really just the haters because they love proving that Tuukka sucks. And as I said, I made one point here: is we're all Bruins fans here. The last thing you'd want is even Tuukka to have a bad year solely based on the fact that even if we did try to move him, $7 million that isn't winning isn't going anywhere. So that just sits on your cap. You're not going to buy him out because it's just going to hurt you even more. So even if you don't like Tuukka Rask, haters out there, you want him to play well so he would be gone because there's no way of moving his contract right now.
Yeah. But
Montreal's having the same problem with Carey Price.
Oh, yeah. I'll be the same. Like, I'll be the guy that I'm not usually, and Rask is having a terrible year.
Unbelievable.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. And you can see in his game is not there. It's not the same as it has been. But like Court said, there's a lot of goalies having that problem right now. Henrik Lundqvist has been one of the best goaltenders in the NHL for a long time. He's having a bad year. Yes, he's older, but so is Carey Price, who's basically a franchise goaltender. So it's one of them things. Like, there's a few people having a bad year. There's a few goaltenders had a bad year last year. It's just rest turn. So
the Rangers are not in the playoffs right now. Edmonton Oilers are playing terrible. It's not just us, but our fan base loves the focus on the goaltending solely based on we had what you call a miracle series from a goaltender in the playoffs in Tim Thomas. You don't see those very often. We had 1 year, and everybody expects every goalie to play like that. It's unfortunate, but, it is what it is. You can't get mad at the fans for it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody fans differently. We are more realistic kind of fans that do research. And I'm not saying other people don't do their research, but we also dive in a little, and we see different angles. We don't have blinders on. We're not rah-rahs all the time as much as we love certain players. But we also are not blind to when people struggle. And definitely, we call those players out. So we are not these fans that are always the biggest apologists, because that's what I heard this morning was just that you guys are just...
Oh, yeah, but the person that was saying it is like the biggest hater. He might as well just call himself a Habs fan. Like, the fact that he gets so off whenever Tuukka Rask has a bad game, and if you actually look, he most of the time waits for a conversation to not even be about Tuukka, and then he's like, oh, how did Hudobin play last night? Dude, that's not even what you're talking about. Calm down. Simmer. So...
regardless of all that crap, other goaltenders struggle. I mean, Tuukka Rask is having a terrible year. Like you guys said, Carey Price. I mean, I almost see him being moved a lot sooner than Tuukka Rask.
$10 million ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I know, and he's also got to play better too when he does get healthy to kind of entice another team to pay that up and bring back a king's ransom, And
if you remember, the goalie for the Los Angeles, he didn't play too well in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Johnny Quick.
Yeah,
but he's also one of those goaltenders that really has an exceptional game, like a shutout. It really stands on his head once or twice a month, but as he sees time, 6 to 7 games a month, he's only got one explosive game. So he relies on a heavy defense in front of him, that's no doubt. And that's something right now that the Bruins are trying to incorporate into their game. And it's, it's the whole thing of going back to just having a little patience with these younger players.
Oh, yeah. And like everyone said, it's still half an AHL team playing in the NHL right now.
Exactly.
There's so many injuries, so many factors that go into it. Wouldn't have been that bad over the last few years, but now that they've gone with the youth movement, it's hard without the depth that the Bruins have had in the past. And
like I said last week, when I was starting to get a little annoyed on how many times Coach Cassidy can just go up on the podium after the game and just say, we need to do this better. We need to do that better. These players have to be better. These younger players, when they come into a role like this, they have to step it up. It was the same thing over and over, but it just seems that, and please put aside the whole Rask and Hudobin thing, but you can almost see that this team is starting to see his frustration. And I'm not at practices, not on a regular basis. I probably go to like once or twice a couple months, but I'm not sure what's going on at practices. He might be like going off on them, trying to get the best he can out of every individual player on that bench, regardless of injuries and so on. So this might be a nice turnaround period. They got 2-game winning streak. It's positive signs, and I love it. This is exactly what I wanted to see after the
old horses.
What?
Well, I just think we should all, we got these points. It's awesome. We're still an injury-riddled team, but someone pointed out on Twitter to me this morning, what's the biggest factor that we have in these 2 games that we won? Who do we have on the ice at the same time that we haven't all year?
I'm lost.
Krejci and Bergeron.
Oh, yeah. And that, before we get into next week's games, I just wanted to touch on that. Now that you just bring it up, I'm just going to go ahead on a couple topics. What is it with Krejci? He comes back from missing, I wrote it down, 11 games. The last game action was October 19th. Comes back and doesn't score any points on Thursday night. Doesn't score any points last night. But what is he doing when he comes into this lineup that seems to ease so much up the middle? His presence did something in the last 2 games. And I'm curious. I don't understand what it is, but I wanted to know what you guys think from watching it yourselves.
Because other teams have to, defend him. They know that he's a dangerous forward. They know he can pass the puck really well. Teams are having to defend him. When you've got Riley Nash centering the second line, or who's been centering it recently, Curley. I mean, when that's happening, you don't really have to defend those guys as much as you do a Krejci or a Bergeron. So I think that's one of the main factors that's happening right now.
It allows them not to have one line getting checked all the time.
Right.
The way I look at it, it allows them to actually use 2 lines, because before, Krejci also is a very good puck possessor, and he's better on the power play. We're better on the power play with him. I know we only had 1 chance, I think, last game, but still, he is a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. A lot of fans like to dump on him too.
Yeah,
he's a whipping boy.
Yeah, and that's one thing is every time a conversation comes up about Krejci, it's most of it is his salary and how much point production he actually gets when he's healthy, and it mind boggles me to think that he's not paid to be a top 10 goal scorer in the NHL. He's actually paid to play that exact role that everybody saw when he went pointless the last 2 games. And that's why I find it funny and express, reasons to know from other people why he comes in and just really settles that middle up really well.
It's just that experience of playing in the National Hockey League for so long. There was times where Bergeron and Krejci were known as one of the deadliest centre depths that a team had. And I know that's not the same anymore, but
there was 1A and 1B.
There's still that line can be changed up so many ways. No one knows who the Bruins' first line is because Jack Edwards always puts it's the David Krejci line, and then changes it to be Bergeron. So you don't know who's going to be out there.
Was when we won the Cup in 2011, Krejci was the number 1 line, wasn't he not?
Yeah.
I just don't.